Hare Krishna. Welcome to this episode of Harināma Cintāmaṇi. So in today's episode, we will be studying a very important offense, which is considered the ninth offense, which is inattention while chanting. Hare Krishna. Inattention while chanting. So it is a very important offense. In fact, it is said to be the mother of all offenses. And this will be explained in depth by Haridas Thakur. Of course, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining by the conversation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Haridas Thakur. So we will invoke the blessings of Srila Prabhupada and the Parampara by chanting the Mangalasharan prayers, and then we will begin. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vāsudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaiṣṇavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Caitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So welcome to this episode of Harināma Cintāmaṇi, and today is not our regular day. Today is Thursday. We actually had postponed the program from yesterday to today. So I request you to share this class and inform those devotees who might not have noticed that the class has started so that they can also join. This is a very important topic, and this is our lifeblood of our spiritual life, chanting. And if we can do this chanting properly, then we have all access to Krishna Prema. But since we are chanting in the aparad stage, we need to understand these offenses so that we can, be better equipped in understanding actually what these offenses are and how they even come, and pray to Krishna, pray to Srila Prabhupada, pray to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to release us of these offenses and carefully chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So please invite as many devotees as you can to this session, so that will be helpful for everyone. Again, I would like to reiterate the point that I am not conducting these sessions on Harināma Cintāmaṇi from a place where, I know how to chant and here is what I will teach you how to chant. No, I am very offensive chanter. So I am just learning the gravity of these offenses and why we should avoid them, how we should avoid them. So I am actually learning with you in this It is just that I am happening to speak and you are happening to listen, but we are all getting purified in the same way by the writings of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and by the conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Haridas Thakur. But let's not forget that all this, even though we are reading, we cannot understand anything without the mercy of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Only through His mercy can we understand all these writings. Alright, so with that, I would like to begin this. So chapter 12, Inattention while chanting. Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Bhaktagan, Jahara Prasada Kori Nama Sankirtan. So this verse says, Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Bhaktagan. Mahaprabhu is always with Bhakta, just like a king is always with his subjects. A king means, of course, there is a kingdom, of course, there are citizens. So it is a huge setup. When we say king, it does not mean he is alone. Alone, what kind of king he is? So a king means he has to have his whole kingdom and opulence and subjects, various departments working under him, such and such. So Sangopangastra Parshadam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, came with his associates and started the Sankirtan movement. So, and it is not only those associates who have been in the presence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was on the earth, but even, like for example, Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they are all Gaurangera Sangigane, Nitya Siddha Korimane. So they are all eternally liberated souls and they are from the confidential circle of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are all Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's confidential associates. So we are offering all our respects through this mantra. Jahara Prasada Kori Nama Sankirtan. By their mercy only can we perform Nama Sankirtan, the chanting of the holy name. We should always remember that chanting, it sounds like it is within our control, right? After all, I have to just move my lips and my tongue and then I can chant. It is completely within my control. But no. Everybody has mouth and everybody has, tongue. Why is not everybody chanting? And even we have access. And how, eagerly do we chant every day? Sometimes you feel reluctant, I have to finish 16 rounds and they will see it like a burden. And apart from the beads of course is our promised quota every day. But apart from that, how much are we chanting Krishna's name? So although it is available, but we are not able to take to it. Why? Because this is only possible by the mercy of the Acharya, by the mercy of devotees, by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we have to beg for that mercy. And then only can we actually chant. Haridas spoke. To Sanatana Goswami in Puri and to Gopal Bhatta when you travel to South India, you taught the importance of performing one's chanting without inattention. Inattention is counted as one of the aparadhas. Even if one successfully overcomes all the other offenses in chanting and one is chanting continuously, love of God may not come. One should know that the reason for this is that one is committing the offense known as Pramāda or inattention. Here the diacritics in this book are off actually, they are not accurate. It's Pramāda, not Pramada. Pramāda. In the verse also in the 10 offenses, Api Pramāda, means inattention. This offense will block progress to Prema. Pramāda may mean madness, but here the meaning is inattention or carelessness. It is from this offense that all other offenses spring. So that's why it is called the mother of all offenses. It is from this offense that all other offenses spring. Now here it is mentioned Pramāda means madness, but here the meaning is inattention or carelessness. So, if one is actually inattentive about Krishna, he is actually in a madness position. Pishachi paile jana mati channa hoy, mayagrasta jiver hoy shai bhava udoy. So it is said by Jagadananda Pandit in the Prema Bhakti Chandrika that Pishachi paile, when one is haunted by ghost, he will act in ways that he would not normally act. His nature is something else, but when he is ghostly haunted, his nature is something else. So, in that situation, he may talk and do some nonsense things. Pisachi paile jena mati channa hoy. His intelligence, his mind becomes covered by the influence of that ghost, and he acts in weird, strange ways, and talks nonsense, does nonsense. So similarly, mayagrasta jiver hoy she bhava uday. When one is captured by Maya, one is similarly mad. It's like a ghostly haunted person becomes mad. So, in that madness, he forgets completely his relationship with Krishna. Just like a ghostly haunted person may completely forget his family members and his relations with them, and he may say many bad things to them in that haunted condition, and he may harm them. Otherwise, he would not have done so if he knew what he was doing. But because of the influence of that ghost, he will not know what he is doing. So similarly, out of influence of the ghost of Maya, the conditioned living entity completely forgets his relationship with Krishna. So even a moment's inattention is actually condemned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I mean, this is from the Vishnu Puran, I think. But it is taken very seriously. What is that? No, not this. Very long purport. Sahanistannmahachchidram samohah sacha vibhramah yanmuhurtam kshanam vapi Vāsudevam na chintayet. Sahani tan mahachchidram samohah sacha vibhramah. Hani means harm, loss, harm. Hita means good or for the benefit of. Benefit. Hita means benefit. Hani means the exact opposite, harm or loss. Sahanistan mahat chidram. Chidram means mistake or some anomaly. Anomaly. Some moha sacha vibhramaha. So, you see, if even for a moment remembrance of Vāsudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is missed, that is the greatest loss, that is the greatest illusion, and that is the greatest anomaly. You see? Chidram means fault, actually. Sahanistan mahachchidram samoha sachavibhrama. Chidram, there is this word also in this verse 8. 23:16. Mantratas tantratas chidram, discrepancy, fault. Desha kalarhavastutah sarvam karoti nischidram anusankirtanam tava. There may be discrepancies in pronouncing the mantras and observing the regulative principles, and moreover there may be discrepancies in regard to time, place, person and paraphernalia. But when your Lordship's holy name is chanted, everything becomes faultless. Nischidram, without discrepancy. Chidram, discrepancy. So sahanistan mahat chidram, great discrepancy. Mahat means very great. Mahat chidram, So it is a great discrepancy, it is a great fault, it is a great loss, it is a great illusion, it is a great anomaly if we forget Krishna even for a moment. That's why it is said, Satatam Smartavya Satatam Vishnu Vismartavyo na jatu chit. Always remember Krishna and never forget him. So, therefore, pramada or madness can be equated to inattention. Because a little bit inattention is madness, is a manifestation of madness. Because if you were not mad, you would have never forgotten Krishna. It may sound very fanatical, it may sound too extreme. How can you call it mad? It's just 5 seconds you have forgotten him. Okay? So, if a mother forgets the child, is she not reprimanded for that? If the child gets into some danger, because of some inattention of the mother, is she not reprimanded? Of course, that is because of the harm done to the child. In this case, there is no harm done to Krishna if we don't think of him. But we are the ones who will be harmed. The love, see, our constitutional position is to be a loving eternal servant of Krishna. So to forget that love and think of something else, that is actually madness. So that's why inattention is known as pramāda, which is also known as madness. And it is said here, it is from this offense that all other offenses spring. The wise men recognize three types of inattention. I hope you all shared the class in the groups. Did you? I think please, somebody is asking why it has not started. Just a second. So, pramāda may mean madness, but here the meaning is inattention or carelessness. It is from this offense that all other offenses spring. The wise men recognize three types of inattention: indifference or no attention, laziness, and distraction or attraction to other objects. Three types of inattention. You see how much detail, granular detail, so that it will help us to, identify. When it is presented so clearly, then it's easier for us to identify what types of inattention, how it is coming, and everything. It helps us be more introspective. So, continuing on, by good fortune, after getting faith, a jiva will take up the name. By chanting regularly, counting on a tulsi mala carefully, he will develop attraction for the name. However, until that attraction has actually developed, one must be very careful about how one chants. Careful, the word careful is used. So we must be careful. We must be, not inattentive. We have to be attentive how we chant. So this is important. Naturally, the common man having attachment to material things will be attracted to these things even while chanting. You see? Though chanting japa daily, if his taste is elsewhere, he will show indifference to the name. His heart will not be absorbed in chanting the name, but in some material object. His mouth is chanting, but his heart is not. So, how can that benefit him? He may chant 64 rounds counting strictly on his japa beads, but in his heart he has not received one drop of the taste of the name. And forget it, we are only chanting 16 rounds. 1/4 of that. This indifference or apathy towards the name is one type of inattention. In the heart of a materialist, it is unavoidable. What is that? It is unavoidable. Because this is where we start. We are starting from all kinds of material attachment. Only later, after purification, then one comes to understand that these are all non-essentials, these attachments, should not be there. So, if indifference or lack of attraction for the name is present, one should take association of Vaiṣṇavas who are properly chanting in some place sheltered from the material influence. Now, where is that place? If indifference or lack of attraction for the name is present, one should take association of Vaiṣṇavas who are properly chanting in some place sheltered from the material influence. Now, that is a temple. And that's why we have this system of chanting in the morning with all the Vaishnavas together. They have nothing else to do but chant. So we can see ourselves how our focus is when we are chanting like that, compared to when we are alone or doing something else and this and that, and then we are chanting. You see? So one should take association of Vaishnavas who are properly chanting in some place sheltered from the material influence. So that's why Srila Prabhupada started this, japa session. Everybody sits down and chants. And that's all we do, and nothing else. And then you see, let's read it. Actually, it's explained here already. By chanting in that situation, his absorption in material things will be reduced. Being inspired by the conduct of the Vaishnavas, he will give up that fault. You see? Gradually, the heart will get attracted for the name and will be anxious for the nectar of the name. See, the association of Vaishnavas is essential for improving our chanting. So, how to not chant inattentively? Of course, the remedy could have been, chant attentively. Focus on what you're chanting. Yes, that is of course the thing. But the thing is that we may not have the willpower. Our mind is racing, our mind is pulling us. So in the association of Vaishnavas, it becomes stabilized. Then by observing, inspired by the conduct of Vaishnavas, he will give up that fault. Or attractions and attachments for material things will reduce by seeing how the Vaishnavas are attentively chanting and putting so much, giving so much respect to the name. Gradually the heart will get attraction for the name and will be anxious for the nectar of the name. The advanced devotees have recommended that one live in a place where Krishna had his pastimes, or near Tulasi, in the company of Vaishnavas, and gradually increase the period of chanting. 4 things. The advanced devotees have recommended that one live in a place where Krishna had his pastimes, near Tulasi, in the company of Vaishnavas, and gradually increase the period of chanting. So if you see the morning japa session in the temple, it is, of course, Krishna had his pastimes, deity is also Krishna, right? So in the presence of Krishna, in front of Tulasi, in the company of Vaishnavas, and as long as one can chant. It's not that 5 minutes and then go out somewhere. Increase the period of chanting. That's why Srila Prabhupada said, chanting in the temple is 1000 times more powerful than chanting outside the temple. He said in a conversation like that. This is some Q&A session. How can we chant Hare Krishna attentively? Honestly, I'm still a work in progress. You see, I'm just repeating what Prabhupada is saying and what the books are saying. Of course, I'm not in a stage where I'm wrapped in thought of attention. Mind goes many ways. They have to pull it back. So that's the whole exercise of chanting. And one actually, even though one has not completely gotten the taste, but still one will appreciate appreciate the taste, appreciate the happiness one can get when one chants properly, at least to the best of his ability. It is a very rewarding experience, and we want to chant more. But the more we dilute it with all kinds of inattention, the more it becomes a chore. The more we get absorbed in chanting, the more it is pleasurable and is inspiring. The more we are inattentive, the more it becomes a chore, the more it becomes a so-called burden. Because we will not be able to see how much burden is there, the chanting of the holy name. It does not carry any weight, right? It's just a sound. But it does. If we are unwilling to chant, if we are lazy to chant, then it seems like a burden. Just opening mouth and chanting Hare Krishna, it seems like a burden. In the Mukundamala Stotra, of course, in the Sikshashtaka also he says, Durdaivam idrisham ihajane nanuragaha. Out of great misfortune, I have not achieved any attraction for the holy name. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, saying, representing us. Here, Mukundamala 28 and 29. Srinath Nārāyaṇa Vāsudeva Shri Krishna Bhakta Priya Chakrapane Shri Padmanabha Achyuta Kaita Bhare Shri Rama Padmaksha Hare Murare Ananta Vaikuntha Mukunda Krishna Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Vaktum Samarthopi na Vakti Kaschid Aho Jananam Vyasanabhimukhyam. Vyasanabhimukhyam means they are so eager for their own peril. See here, Vyasana means danger. They are so inclined to their own danger. What is that? O Srinath, Nārāyaṇa, Vāsudeva, Krishna, friend of the devotees, Bhakta Priya, Chakrapani, Padmanabha, Achyuta, Kaitabhari, Rama, Padmaksha, Hari, Murari, Ananta, Vaikunta, Mukunda, Krishna, Govinda, Damodara, Madhava. Although all people can address you, so many names are there, millions of names. And still they remain silent. Just see how eager they are for their own peril. Becomes a burden. And similarly he says in the 38th verse, Āscharya etadhi manushya loke sudham parityajya visham pibanti namani Nārāyaṇa gocharani tyaktvaanya vācah kuhakah pathanti. The greatest wonder in human society is this. People are so incorrigible that they reject the life-giving nectar of Lord Nārāyaṇa's names and instead drink poison by speaking everything else. This is what is meant by being eager for one's own peril. Gradually the heart will get attraction for the name and will be anxious for the nectar of the name. The advanced devotees have recommended that one live in a place where Krishna had his pastimes, near Tulasi, in the company of Vaiṣṇavas, and gradually increase the period of chanting. Quickly the taste for material objects will go. Another remedy is to carefully chant in a room by oneself with the door locked, or concentrate on the name by covering the eyes, ears and nose with a cloth or the like to prevent stimuli from the exterior. Now, here is another thing he is saying. Another remedy, how to give up this inattention, is to carefully chant in a room by oneself with the door locked, or concentrate on the name by covering the eyes, ears and nose with a cloth. So put cloth on the whole head to prevent stimuli from the exterior. Of course, we cannot do this and nowadays, of course, if you are alone in a room, there is a phone with you, so you have access to the entire world from the comfort of your room. The other thing is, the main thing we have to understand is to shut off the external stimuli and focus on the chanting. So this is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita, Dishaschanavalokayan, in the 6th chapter, 6:13, I think. Samam kaya shirogrivam dharayannachalam sthirah Samprekshanasikāgram svam dishascānavalokayan Prashantātma vigatabhir brahmachari vrate sthitah Manah samyamya macchitto yukta asita matparah Dishascānavalokayan. On all sides, not looking. I mean, not looking here and there. Not letting our senses roam around and not focus on the name that we are chanting. Dishascānavalokayan. So, it's not only the eyes, but also the ears, everything. So, we have to chant in a very focused manner. Prabhupada said, when you chant, hear what you are chanting. Quickly the taste for material objects will go. Another remedy, we have seen this. Carefully chanting in this way, an attraction or taste for the name will develop and indifference will be suppressed. So, this is the only method to carefully chant and focus. If one chants with a sluggish mind, so this is just now what was explained is the first type of inattention. What is that? Indifference or no attention. That is the first type of inattention. Indifference. Next, laziness. If one chants with a sluggish mind, or after chanting a little one has to stop before finishing his round, it is called laziness. One has no, interest in finishing the round also. It's like, I need to put this down and then do something. So that means it is lazy. From this, one's taste for the name cannot develop. The remedy for this is to take association of Vaiṣṇavas. Again, who do not waste time on material activity but constantly chant and remember the holy name, being absorbed only in the name. So we have to take Vaiṣṇavas who are in that category. One should follow in their footsteps. When one sees how the true Vaiṣṇava or sadhu does not waste time in useless pursuits, he will develop a taste to do likewise. Again, being inspired by the sadhu who does not waste time in useless pursuits. In his mind, he will think very good. He will appreciate the sadhu's disposition of not wanting to waste time. By this, enthusiasm will come to the lazy mind and he will overcome the offense of laziness or inertia. One will become determined to increase his chanting every day. By this eagerness in his rounds and by the mercy of the devotees, the offense of inertia will quickly go away. So, what is that? Indifference, laziness, and then the next thing is called distraction. One should be careful to eliminate the third type of inattention, distraction. From distraction, all types of inattention are born. Now, inattention itself is the mother of all offenses, and among inattention, distraction is the mother of all inattention. It is the root cause of all problems in our chanting. Distractions. This fault resides in attraction for women or men in the case of women. So for women, it's the man who is the attraction. Or for the man, it's the woman who is the attraction. So this fault resides in attraction for women and wealth, attraction for material success or victory, desire for position, and the cheating propensity. These are all distractions. If one has attraction in any of these categories, one will naturally be inattentive to the holy name. One should be careful to eliminate these fixations by following the proper Vaiṣṇava behavior. On Ekadashis so you see, this is very important. So desire for women and wealth, attraction for material success or victory, desire for position, puja, pratishtha, labha, these kind of things, and the cheating propensity. So these have to be completely nil if one wants to make any advancement. If one has attraction in any of these categories, one will naturally be inattentive to the holy name. One should be careful to eliminate these fixations by following the proper Vaiṣṇava behavior. On Ekadashis and appearance days, one should stop thinking of eating. See, this is the other thing. Ekadashi is meant for, and all the appearance days, they are meant for, the way to observe those holy days are to minimize our material necessities and spend more time in the service. Sometimes, devotees are like, oh, I am fasting, I cannot do so much service today because I don't have energy. That's not the point. Fasting so that I can make more time for service. Of course, to attract devotees, there are prasadam even for the in the Ekadashi category. But the whole point is not to enjoy oneself or eat opulently or forget about eating totally. That is the whole point. And then focus on the chanting. Just like, for example, we are hungry because we expect, okay, this is the time I'm going to eat. But on appearance days, on Ekadashi, or like when there is fasting, Janmashtami, 24 hours, like we don't get really hungry. Because in our mind, we have resigned to the fact that today we're not going to eat until the midnight. So we are able to do. So the determination should be done before. If we leave the decision for an impromptu feeling, like, okay, now I want to eat, let me eat. No, the decision is already made. Because of course, social pressure, because all devotees are fasting. If I don't fast, no more. So that's the beginning at least. So that's where it starts, because everybody is doing, so I must do. There's no way that it's Janmashtami, there's no way I'm going to eat until midnight, no matter what the body says. So when we tell our body like that, then the body doesn't really disturb us so much when there's that kind of determination. So on Ekadashis and appearance days, one should stop thinking of eating and all day and night chant in the association of devotees. So this is the proper way to celebrate. In fact, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, he was a Babaji. He had nothing to do with money or anything like that. So during Ekadashi, he used to say we must feast. We must have a feast. Feasting on what? Holy name. One should taste the rasa of the holy name, Nama rasa. So that's all. That is a feast. That means full, complete fast from eating, but engaging in feasting on the holy name. Now I can see that my computer is working a lot. You let me know if there is audio video sync problems, because I think it's going to come if it has not already, because I can see the condition of the computer. I don't know why, but I hope it goes away quickly. So you see, this is the way one should observe. In this way, one will joyfully engage in devotional activities, listening to scriptures of the Lord in association with the Lord's servants in the Lord's Dhama. Gradually, the bhakti portion of one's mind will increase and the mind will rejoice in hearing topics about Krishna. The higher taste will come and the lower taste will go. Upon hearing songs about Krishna from the mouths of the pure devotees, one's mind and ears will taste the real nectar. In this way, the desire for low material objects will disappear and the heart will be constantly fixed and attracted to the singing the name. By avoiding the offense of distraction, one will be able to indulge in the nectar of the name. So, this is how one should do it. The only thing is that The only remedy is that in the association of Vaishnavas, we have to constantly focus. And if you cannot come to the association of Vaishnavas because you are at your home, then keep the Prabhupada's chanting and chant with him. The audio of Prabhupada's japa is there, and you can put that on and then chant. That will be very purifying. One should thus never be inattentive to complete one's prescribed number of daily rounds. This should be noted day by day. When chanting these prescribed rounds, one should avoid the different types of inattentiveness. Giving up the desire to increase the number of rounds for show, one should attempt to first concentrate nicely on what one can manage. Quality than quantity. Whatever we are doing, 16 rounds, let me increase to 32, 64, 192 rounds. No. Whatever we are, given, let us do it properly, with attention. Then increase. One automatically wants to increase at that time. Not simply artificially, Prabhu, I am chanting 64 rounds. You are chanting 16, right? 64. 64. Not like that. This is for our own purification. So we have to be sincere. Not to advertise anywhere. So therefore the devotee starts by chanting with full concentration in a peaceful place for a short time. He will always be praying to the Lord that he will chant clear attentive rounds with the mind fixed on Krishna. For on one's own one cannot accomplish anything. This is important. This should be the mood of a devotee. He will always be praying to the Lord that he will chant clear, attentive rounds with the mind fixed on Krishna. For on one's own, one cannot accomplish anything. So, to chant the holy name properly, we have to beg the Lord himself, beg the holy name, please allow me to chant the name properly. Krishna's grace is necessary to cross the ocean of material existence. Without that we cannot cross. Being anxious in heart, one should beg for mercy. And because Krishna is merciful, he will help. Whoever does not try for that mercy is very unfortunate. So, we have to be anxious in our heart. That, we have to hold the holy name very dearly. We tend to be inattentive, tend to be not so involved because we don't take the holy name as the sole way or cause for our deliverance. We don't have that much faith, you see, and that's why we don't have that much respect. Like if we have faith, we will have full attention. For example, if I am in danger, or if I am in a desperate condition, I will do anything, and with great attentiveness, I will do whatever needs to be done to get out of that desperate situation. You see, I will go to any length, any extent to save myself from that desperate condition. Whether it's danger to life or ultimately it boils down to that. If our life depends on it, anything, we will do it with great care and attention, right? Suppose if I am at a height and there's a railing for the path, I will hold on to that, because if anything happens, I can hold on to this tightly, and I will be careful in my steps and everything. So, likewise, if our life depended on it, actually our life depends on it, but the thing is we don't realize. We think our life doesn't depend on the holy name, our spiritual life. But actually it depends. It entirely is dependent on the holy name. But we are inattentive because we are not conscious of that fact. And we get distracted with this and that trivial things. So being anxious in heart, one should beg for mercy, and because Krishna is merciful, he will help. Whoever does not try for that mercy is very unfortunate. That person who has attained the ornament of the touchstone of the holy name still aspires for the 2 feet of Haridas Thakur. So it's 8:40. Maybe we can do the next offense also. We can, I think, continue to the next offense. Attachment to I and mind. That is also important, you see. I think we'll do it. Because anyway, yesterday we did not have a class. So chapter 13. So that's until now about inattention. And actually, I have been, just on a side note, but I have been just learning how to do mind maps to retain what we have learned. For example, recall. I think when we were doing shloka memorization course, then there we have mentioned active recall and spaced repetition. That means we have to repeat the shlokas and then test ourselves or ask others to test us by asking questions, and then we repeat the shloka. So shlokas is one thing. What about like this? This is like a prose. And of course, it's actually in a text form, like Bengali text. But we're not going to remember everything. But still, it is not just the verses that we need to remember. It's the concept also, right? Of course, if we can remember the verses, we can automatically remember the context, the whole subject. But again, how much bandwidth we have to learn all kinds of shlokas, right? So to assimilate subjects, topics, so mind maps are a good visual way of spatial learning, and it is good to have. What I have realized, I am going to start on that. I have never done this before, because usually I just write down in bullet point forms kind of thing. But I'm going to experiment with mind maps. So for each topic, there's subtopics and then subtopics. So like that, the whole thing is spread out, the whole topic. So that we can, if we want to revise this book, if I want to read the Harināma Cintāmaṇi again, of course I can read again. But then I want to be able to revise every now and then. In fact, why do we repeat the 10 offenses every morning? So this is the shloka learning course that we have done. I have not spoken about mind maps there. To get an idea of the, like a bird's eye view, which is called Vihangāvalokana, which is bird's eye view. And it is also like a Simhavalokana, which is, to an extent. So it is to get an idea of what is there in the whole subject and, revise that on a daily basis or a weekly basis or as often as we can. Even maybe draw it up on a big, chart or something and put in the room so that we can see it every time. I want to do these kind of things. Because, yes, we have done Harināma Cintāmaṇi now. And I don't know, when again we will touch this, even in our lifetime, if not. If at all. So, and then these classes will be forgotten. Yes, it will be there in the playlist, but who will watch again? I don't know. Maybe there will be some. And also this book is there. So anything that we are learning, it's good to revise a few times so that it will retain in our memory. So for that, this mind map will be good, because in one glance you can recap all the points, everything in one place you can see. So mind maps are a good tool for learning, and I've been just learning a little bit about how to properly do mind maps so that I don't start off on a wrong way and then do something else. So I want to put that in practice, and this Harināma Cintāmaṇi. I want to start with this Harināma Cintāmaṇi and share with you in due course. In fact, I was thinking by the end of this thing, we will do a class with the recap of an entire thing with the mind map. So let's see if that is possible. If at all not possible immediately, I will be working on it, and once it's complete, we will have a session on that as well. Just to recap, and maybe I'll share that mind map with everyone, and then it'll be a good reminder. So for every topic, I guess that's a good way to see the whole subject in a bird's eye view, and a little bit into detail as well. Like everything that is mentioned here. Radhika Sakhi Mata says, yes bro, mind maps will be so useful in helping us recollect what we have learnt. Wonderful way to spiritualize a materially popular technique. Yeah, somehow I was not much into mind maps. Suddenly some video came up and I just saw. So I was thinking of how to actually take notes of what I learned. So that I thought this will be a good thing. Pavitra Mataji is saying, Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. I am going through some Montessori classes for my daughter, so I was thinking to do Brahma Samhita shlokas print out and other things for her and us, and also photos of Krishna so that we can teach her. This will be helpful for us too. Yes. So I think if we can have charts or something on the wall, something to always remind us of all the things that we're learning, and that will be helpful. We should see it regularly. Then if we do something and then it's hidden, there is some pros and cons for digital way of doing. The digital, of course, we can store how much ever we want in a single phone or something like that. But then the real learning happens. The real reason why we do these exercises is to keep it here, not in the device. That's the main thing. So to recollect here. So physically putting it out so that we can actually see, we can actually look at them, and that's what is important. So that is very important actually. So sensory, because our senses are just focusing everywhere. So let our senses see this, and every time we can look at it and remember, revise, and introspect. So it's a very good tool to have it visually represented, instead of just in a small SD card, micro SD card. Yeah, I mean it's good that you can store a lot of things there, but you can't see them unless you open it yourself. And when are you going to open it? So here it's always open. Physically means it's just open, So that's an important element to learning. So I'm just sharing this because maybe it will be helpful for you as well. Just to share one of my experiences or my journey through this. Okay, attachment to I and mind, chapter 13. This is the 10th offense. This is the last offense. And after this, there is other aspects about chanting the holy name. Higher aspects, Nam Pranali, Nama Bhajan, and all these things. So let's see how much we can. I think today we will do until chapter 13, until the end of the offenses. Gadai Gaurang Jaya Jannava Jivan Sita Dvaita Jaya Jaya Gaura Bhaktagan. So, glorifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, who is Janava Jivan. Janava is the wife of Nityananda Prabhu. He is the life of Janava. Sita Advaita is a couple, Advaita Acharya and his wife. Jaya Jaya Gaura Bhaktagan. It's same like Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita, Jaya Advaita, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. How come I forgot? Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita. Chandra. Oh, yeah, Chandra. Yeah. Jayadvaita Chandra. I was getting Sangha. What is Sangha? No, Jayadvaita Sangha. What is Sangha? Chandra, yes. Jayadvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Yes, so. No, Jayadvaita Sita, that is different. That is a Nam Sankirtan song. No, Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jayadvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. The same thing. So, overcome with Prema, Haridas recited the last offense in chanting the holy name. This is very important offense. Let us see. So he goes on like this. Listen, my Lord, this offense is the lowest of all. With this offense, one cannot get Prema. It is the attitude which is exactly opposite to surrender to the Lord. What is that attitude? Attachment to I and mine. It is the attitude which is exactly opposite to surrender to the Lord. Having extirpated the first 9 offenses, means having, removed all the first 9 offenses, the devotee should culture full surrender to the name. According to the scriptures, there are 6 types of surrender which are impossible to explain in detail. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam rakshishyati iti vishvaso goptritve varnam tatha atmanikshepakarpanya shadvidha sharanagati. So this is the actual verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So they are mentioned in English as follows. Accepting 1. So 6 things, right? Number 1. Accepting everything favorable for service to the Lord. Accepting everything favorable for the service to the Lord. Number 2. Rejecting everything unfavorable for the service to the Lord. Number 3. Having faith in Krishna as one's protector. 4. Knowing that Krishna is one's preserver and maintainer. 5. Thinking oneself as low and worthless. This is Karpanya. And Atmanikshepa. Number 6. Being self-surrendered. If one does not culture these attitudes while chanting, one will simply accumulate material in life. We will be collecting so many things in life. And these things may not be just physical things, mental things also. Because we will have attachment to a certain thing, a certain person, a certain comfort. So these are all not existing physically, may not be existing physically, but in the mental. Actually, everything is mental. Because physically everything is existing anyway. Our attachment to it is our accumulation. Our accumulation is not things. Our accumulation is attachment to those things for personal gratification. Because things are anyway in existence. But to consider them mine, for my this thing, that is the problem. And that problem is always there in the mind. The mental accumulation. And sometimes physically it does not look like one accumulates or one has anything. But still, it is considered that, Goswamis were, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they were like so detached that they were used to sleeping every 2-3 days. They will change the tree under which they are sleeping, so that they won't get attached to the tree. Now, they have not accumulated the tree, but they have accumulated, it is, they fear accumulating the thought that this tree is mine, or this is the place, this is my residence. So the accumulation is in the mind. They cannot collect the tree and keep it in their pocket. But in the mind, to have the idea that this is mine, that is a problem. That is the smallest thing. There are millions of things we have attachment to without even our notice. We don't even realize that we are attached to all these things. So, let's see. If one does not culture these attitudes, these 6 things, one will simply accumulate material in life. Those things which always help increase devotion should be accepted in one's life with relish. Those things which impede devotion should be rejected in disgust. One should believe that other than Krishna there is no one on whom to depend, and that Krishna alone is one's maintainer. We have, faith in many things, many material so-called protection. But we should understand that these are all These will only work if Krishna wants it to work. I mean, people, I think a few months ago, I think last year, somewhere in the beginning of last year, there was an earthquake. No, not earthquake. There was a building fault in America. This whole residential complex, it was a condominium, quite a luxury suite, and everybody was sleeping in the night, and then the building just crumbled to the ground. Just like that. They had faith, happily sleeping there, but that became their burial ground. They were buried under their own houses, under the roofs of their own houses. I mean, actually, it only will work if Krishna really wants it to work. If Krishna wants it not to work, it will not. So we have to understand that actually we are only dependent on Krishna and nothing else. So that is one of the aspects of surrender. One should think, so reading on, one should think that one is very low and unqualified with no possessions. As an eternal servant of Krishna, one will be willing to do anything that Krishna desires. That is surrender. To believe that one is the doer, the giver, the protector, that one owns this body, house, wife and offspring, to think oneself to be a Brahmana or Shudra, husband or wife, king or citizen, this should all be rejected. I mean, how many of us, how many times have we not heard this? We have heard this every single class almost. But I don't think even the slightest, how much have we even realized this? We always come back to identifying ourselves as a man, as a woman, as a offspring, as a wife, as a husband, as a child, as a parent, protector, doer, giver, owner. We are identifying, this is all upadhi. Upadhi means material designations. We are none of these actually. We have heard this a million times, but how many of us have actually realized? So this should all be rejected, it is said here. Instead, centering one's thought on Krishna, one should think of Krishna as the controller and doer, and that Krishna's desire is the main thing. One will do as Krishna desires, not as one independently wants to do. This is the main thing about surrender. Surrender means one will do as Krishna desires, not as one independently wants to do. See, as a disciple, we are officially actually coming into the zone of surrender. Now, we may not be completely surrendered yet, but to become disciple means to accept that I must surrender. Karishe vachanam tava. Always take permission of the Guru, or always inquire from the Guru, whether even, sometimes we make decisions and we come to the sadhus and ask, Prabhu, I am doing this, please give me blessings so that I may become successful. You have not asked the sadhu first of all whether what I am doing is even right. You are just coming to the sadhu to ask his blessings. So do we really want his blessings, or we want our own way and then ask him to just give his blessing so that our way will not be disturbed? Is that actually blessing? Is that actually the real blessing of a sadhu? Sadhu may instruct us in a way which is, he may ask us to stop whatever we are doing. That is itself is a curse. You come out and do this. That is actual blessing. You chant, you become devotee, you focus on this, or you do this way, that way. But we have our own plans usually, and we do things that are actually to our own detriment, but we want the blessings of sadhu in those activities. Prabhu, I am getting new job, you give me blessing that I am going for interview, so please give me blessing, you give me. So the sadhu, yes, can say, okay, you can go and do it. But what does the sadhu really feel? The sadhu really wants that this devotee, this person should surrender to Krishna. So the real thing that should be asked is, how can I improve in my spiritual life? What should I do? What should be my priorities in life? So of course, if we hear from the sadhus, if we hear the lecture, if we read Prabhupada's books, these things will become clarified more and more, and we will want to surrender to Krishna. and we will want to give up any other activity which is a distraction to Krishna consciousness. In the beginning, of course, one is encouraged to do whatever one is doing, continue doing that, and then, offering the results to Krishna, and then get slowly attached to Krishna more and more by Shravan Kirtan process. And when that attachment increases, one will think, what am I doing with my life? Not serving Krishna is so much waste of time. Let me surrender more. Let me spend more time for Krishna, more effort, more of whatever I am earning to Krishna. So in this way, we have to do that. So that is called sarvalabdhar panena cha. Surrender means that. In fact, it is said that even a grihastha, if he wants to have a child, he must ask the permission of the guru. Can I have intercourse with my wife? Then if the guru says, okay, fine, have a child, have a Krishna conscious child, so guru gives blessings, and then only he will go and do. Not that, of course, we don't want people to come and ask us every time, can I have sex, can I have sex? We don't want that. Those days, the number of disciples were less. And nowadays, people are from everywhere. And every day, if we get the messages like this, I don't know what our mind will become. Every day, getting messages about sex. So, better not tell us. But Prabhupada gave this thing that, pray to the mercy of Prabhupada and Krishna. And he said, chant 50 rounds before you do it. And then do it. So this is, it's not just for a momentary, happiness. It is actually a very great responsibility. Sex is not, if it is misused, yes, it is a very vulgar thing. It is a very, it's a derogatory thing. It spoils our spiritual life entirely. But if it is done with full purpose, with full understanding that I am only eternal servant of Krishna, so is one's partner, and one who wants to bring forth a child who is, a Krishna conscious devotee, and for those reasons, if one does, it is totally spiritual. So, one should be pure in one's desire and conduct. You see? So one will do as Krishna desires, not as one independently wants to do. So let us follow the procedure given by the Acharya, and then that should suffice. But not independently. Everything should be, we have to take direction. That is the way how to conduct one's spiritual life. Not that I do something and then I hide from the devotees, not tell them. If I tell them, they will ask me to stop. Or I will do something and then I will make my all plans and then I will ask blessings from the sadhus. Or I will do something, get into trouble and then ask the Vaiṣṇavas how to come out of it. Or ask the Vaiṣṇavas first of all, I am planning to do this. Is this right? Or even better, what should I do with my life? What should I do? You tell me. And just do that. So disciple means actually to undergo discipline. Discipline means just like soldier. He is just told what he is supposed to do and he has to do it. That's it. What is that? A soldier's duty is to do or die. He is to do and die, but not to reason why. So he is not supposed to ask, why commander, why are you asking me to go there? You just go there, that's it. Oh, you do push-ups. Oh, why commander, why? I cannot ask. I'll get, if it was 100 push-ups, I'll get 200 push-ups or 500 if I ask like that. So we have to, of course, we have to find the perfect commander first of all in our life, the guru, and then we have to follow. By Krishna's wish, I will stay in this world. See, one will do as Krishna desires, not as one independently wants to do. By Krishna's wish, I will stay in this world, and by Krishna's wish, I will cross over it. Either way, whichever is Krishna's wish. Where am I even? Yeah. By Krishna's wish, I will stay in this world, and by Krishna's wish, I will cross over it. If there is pain, if there is rejoicing, still I am Krishna's servant. Not just pain and rejoicing. Jivane marane gati arna humor. Radha Krishna Pranamor Jugala Kishore. So, not only just happiness or distress, but in life and death, Radha Krishna Pranamor. So, they are my life. So, by His will, if there is pain, if there is rejoicing, still I am Krishna's servant. So, in Bhagavad Gita we find this verse many times, Matra Sparshāstu Kaunteya Shītoshna Sukha Dukkhadah Agamāpāyino Nityāstāṁ Stitikshasva Bharata Yam Hina Vyathayantyete Purusham Purusharshabha Samadukha Sukham Dhiram Somritatvaya Kalpate. Samadukha Sukham Dhiram. Everywhere we find this in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, that in Dukkha and Sukha one should be sama, one should be equal. Now, how is this possible? Only if our focus is elsewhere, then we are not concerned with these turbulence. If our focus is here on the turbulence, we will be concerned. But if our focus is not here, if our focus is on Krishna, whatever happens here, we are not concerned. And we have to be established in that position. Then one will be above the modes. Just like the waves, the tossing waves of the ocean, the storm in the ocean will affect as long as we are touching the water. If we are in the plain or if we are above the water, it won't affect us. All this roller coaster, all this going up, going down, this splashing, hitting the water, we will feel this when we are on the ship. But if we are not on the ship, if we are flying, of course wind will be there, storm will be there, and the plane also, because it is in touch with the wind again, it is felt, but not as much as in the water. The water is way more this thing, and if one does not have any connection with that place at all, he will feel nothing. So because we are in touch, our consciousness is in touch with these modes, therefore the tossing of these waves is felt. But if we are above the modes, not touching this water, then we will not feel anything. So one should be on that platform always, and that is possible by chanting and attentively chanting and avoiding offenses. See? By Krishna's wish I will stay in this world, and by Krishna's wish I will cross over it. If there is pain, if there is rejoicing, still I am Krishna's servant. By His will, He will give mercy to the jivas. My material enjoyment and renunciation are all dependent on Krishna. When this attitude is present, it is called Atmanivedana or self-surrender. Rajeshwari Mataji is saying now it is lagging. Okay, but actually the computer is much better off now than a while ago when it was much more this thing. But I can't do much. I can feel also there is a little bit of lag. I hope it is okay. So when these 6 types of Śaraṇāgati or full surrender are not present in an individual, he possesses the intelligence of I and mind. So let's try to understand. See, when these 6 types of Śaraṇāgati or full surrender are not present in an individual, that means when we are not surrendered in these 6 ways, then he possesses the intelligence of I and mind. We condemn, thinking is I and mind, but we are always in that position. If we are not surrendered like this in these 6 ways, 100% in all these 6, we still have this distorted intelligence of I and mind, aham mamata. Such a person is considered a low rascal because he believes that he is the doer, that the world is his, that he is the creator of his destiny and the enjoyer of the fruits of his activities, that he is his own protector and maintainer, that these are his wife, brothers, sons and daughters, and that by his own endeavor he can achieve all perfection and glory. Such people are proud of the power of their own knowledge. Not considering the Lord's control, they think that by their own brain they can increase and extend the arts and sciences. The atheistic class of men. And it's not just for atheistic class of... In the atheistic class of men, it is in the extreme of the spectrum. But even when we are so-called devotees, in the beginning stages, we have these tendencies, of course. Until we are chanting purely, we still have remnants of these tendencies, and we have to be very vigilant to notice them and curb them. Otherwise we will fall prey and again go to the extreme. There's every chance of us going to the extreme again. So while we condemn the extreme materialists way, we should also notice that we ourselves are not free from that tendency. We also have it, maybe albeit in a smaller quantity than materialists, outright materialists, but still it is there. So such, actually I wanted to show something. In Mukundamala Stotram 35. Shrinvan janardana katha gunakirtanani dehena yasya pulakodgama maraji notpadyate nayanayor vimalambumala dhiktasya jivitamaho purushadhamasya. One who hears descriptions of Lord Janardhan's pastimes and glorious qualities, but whose bodily hair fails to bristle in ecstasy, and whose eyes fail to flood with tears of pure love, such a person is indeed the most degraded rascal. What a condemned life he leads. See, if there is no ecstasy in chanting, that means he is a degraded rascal. He is not surrendered. So let us evaluate ourselves where we stand. Are we a rascal or are we a saint? I don't want to call anybody rascal, but let's just introspect on our own status, where we are. And I can say for myself that if I evaluate myself on this, yardstick, I find myself on the spectrum towards the extreme of the rascaldom. That much I can say. Such people are proud of the power of their own knowledge. Not considering the Lord's control, they think that by their own brain they can increase and extend the arts and sciences. This is what the modern civilization is all about, and devotees are also getting sucked up into this modern civilization method. They are also subscribing to these methods. Yes, chanting on one side, but also having full faith in whatever is going on materially, the arts, the sciences, the technology, and making our life so-called comfortable in this material. No, we should stay away from that. We should use it for Krishna's service, but we should ultimately understand this is an unsustainable way of life. Having a hallucination that there is no God in control and there is no protector other than there is no protector. There's no protector called God, and it's just our human endeavor, human achievement that is the driving force in this material world. If we think like that and build a whole civilization on this hallucination, it is bound to be met with frustration. In the end, it will all come crashing down on us. Like what's happening? Like the scientists thought it was a huge discovery, nuclear. Now it is posing a great threat to the whole world, right? The nuclear powered countries, they are, if all the bombs will be released, the entire earth will be nothing but just desert. And Prabhupada said, this is not just, these weapons are created for the purpose of being used, and they will be used, Prabhupada said. This is Maya's way of storing up all these things, and when the time is right, when the living entities have to be punished sufficiently for all their sins, these will be released and these will go off, these bombs. And just Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 2 bombs, entire cities were wiped out. For generations and generations it could not be properly rebuilt. Just imagine if something like that happens again. And those were just 2 bombs. And now the bombs are way more sophisticated than in 1945, remember. And they're much bigger bombs, much more lethal, hypersonic, so many things have come. So if they are released into the wild, into the the civilization. That's it. It's the end. So they will be used, Prabhupada said. We are engineering our own destruction. We think, we are doing great with our brains. We are doing nonsense with our brains. So, continuing on. If these people hear the glories of the name, they do not believe them. Those who are so much attached to I and mine, this is demoniac mentality, as you can see in the Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter. Asuri Sampatti. See. Actually, we can start from 16:7. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha janana vidurasuraha na shaucham napi chacharo na satyam teshu vidyate. Those who are demoniac, who do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. They do not know what is to be done. And neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. Next. Asatyam apratishtamte jagadahuranishwaram aparaspara sambhutam kimanyat kama hetukam. They say that this world is unreal with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. Is this not the civilization we are in? Etam drishtim avashtabhya nashtatmanolpabuddhayah prabhavantyugra karmanah kshayaya jagato hitah. Following such conclusions, the demoniac who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. Kāmam ashritya dushpuram dambhamana madanvitah mohad grihitva sadgrahan pravartante ashuchivratah. You see, taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demoniac, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. Cintāmaṇi cha pralayantam upashritah kāmopabhoga parama etavad iti nischitah āṣā pāṣaṣatairbadhah kāma krodha parayanah ihante kāma bhogartham anyayenartha sanchayan. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. Then, idam adyamaya alabdham imam prapsye manoratham idam astidam apime bhavishyati punardhanam asau maya hatah shatrur hanishye chaparanapi ishvarohamaham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi आढ्यो भिजनवानस्मि कोन्योस्ति सदृशो मया यक्ष्ये दास्यामि मोदिष्य इति अज्ञान विमोहिताः. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him. And my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform some sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Aneka chitta vibhranta moha samavritah prasaktaha kama bhogeshu patanti narakeshu chao. Thus, perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into hell. Atma sambhavitah stabdha dhanama anamadanvitah yajante nama yajñaiste dambhena vidhi purvakam. Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only, without following any rules or regulations. Ahankaram balam dharpam kamam krodham cha samshritah māmatma paradeheshu pradvishantobhyasuyakah. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others and blaspheme against the real religion. Pradvishantaha abhyasuyakaha. They blaspheme against the real religion. Tanaham dvishatah kruran samsareshu naradhaman kshipam majasram ashubhan asurishveva yonishu. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. And asurim yonim apanna mudha janmani janmani mama prapya iva kaunteya tatoya antyadhamam gatim. Attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. So this is the end of the chapter, I guess. No, 1621. Oh, there are until 1624, sorry. So of course there are 3 gates leading to this hell. Trividham narakasyedam dvaram nashanamatmanaha kamah krodhas tatha lobhas tasmate tatrayam trayam There are 3 gates leading to this hell: lust, anger and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. So, the man who has escaped these 3 gates of hell performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. So, to get out of these 3 gates, Kama, Krodha and Lobha, lust, anger and greed, that is the platform on which a devotee should stand, or a real devotee stands on that platform. Now, as we are advancing towards proper devotion, we should understand, we should remember that we still have remnants of these 3 things: Kama, Krodha, Lobha. Some people have to more extent, some people have to less extent, but everybody has Kama, Krodha, Lobha. So, we have to consciously give these up. We have to consciously see that, okay, we have these things. And then chant the holy name, beg the holy name for mercy, so that we can come out of these things and chant the holy name with reverence and faith and be a devotee of Krishna properly. So, if these people who, think everything is, they are the doer and everything is them, everything is theirs, such people, not considering the Lord's control, they think they can increase and extend the arts and sciences, and if these people hear the glories of the name, they do not believe in them, or if they do chant Krishna's name, it is only out of social custom, just because, I'll just chant a little bit because everybody is chanting, it does not look nice, like that. Being pretenders and cheaters, they may chant the name in Harināma bhas, that means neglectfully, Halanamevava, although it is beneficial in that sense, but will never get Prema. This offense is due to being bound tightly by Maya, and deliverance is very difficult. So, although we say, okay, this is Asuri Sampato, demons, they have these things, just now we have read in the Bhagavad Gita. But we also have those things, right? To not that extent, but maybe lesser extent. So, we are also Asura still, we have Asuri Sampati. So, we have to introspect. We have to see, Bhagavad Gita is not just to condemn. Yes, we have to condemn that way of life. So that, why we have to condemn that way of life? So that we ourselves will give it up. If we have any attachment that, okay, that life is good, there is some good in that life, and that means I will adopt those things. Mentally, if I have accepted it is not bad, then next step is, physically I will do something about it and live like a materialist, like a show bottle devotee on the side. So I have to absolutely dive deep into the spiritual life. That means I have to come out of that. I have to condemn it so that I will look at it with disgust. Even though I am not completely out of it, I still have to condemn it so that I condition my mind, or rather decondition it from the brain washing that it has received all these millions of lifetimes, thinking that it is good, materialistic life is good. So we have to train ourselves to see the reality. It's not an artificial imposition. it is already there. The soul already can, if in the pure state, the soul will be able to see, but just that all this covering is, blocking our vision. So, being pretenders and cheaters, they may chant the name in Harināma bhas, but will never get Prema. As you know, there's Nama bhas 4 types. What is that? Sanketyam parihasyam va, stobham helanameva va. What is that? Asheshagha haram viduhu. Stobham helanameva va. Vaikuntha nama grahanam. Asheshagha haram viduhu. Is that the one? Srimad Bhagavatam 6-14. Sorry, 6-14. Vaikuntha nama grahanam. Yeah. Okay, for those of you who do not know the translation, Sanketyam as an assignation means referring to something else, but like say, Haribol, Prabhu. Actually, we are not referring to Hari, we are just calling him, Sanketyam as an assignation, referring to something else, but using the name. Parihasyam, jokingly chanting. Stobham for musical entertainment. Helanam, neglectfully. So this Helanama bhas, so these 4 types of Nama bhas are there. So Helanama bhas is neglectfully chanting. But coupled with other offenses, it becomes offensive. And also, we cannot sustain it because itself is an offense to not be attentive, right? And also to be not having full faith and having this opposite attitude of non-surrender. To think of I and mine, that means it is a state of not surrendering to Krishna. If we surrender to Krishna, Ishavasamidam Sarvam, everything is Krishna's, everything is His will, I will just have to do whatever He asks me to. That's it. But if I have any other thing, although officially I may accept that position, yes, Krishna is the ultimate, but I am still taking independent decisions, I am doing things whatever I want instead of actually what Krishna wants, and I am trying to just make it devotional. Whatever I do, I just am trying to make it devotional instead of doing it with a devotional disposition from the get-go. So, many things, you see. All this is attachment and not all this is lack of surrender. These offenses due to being bound tightly by Maya, and deliverance is very difficult. However, one can see that there are some people who, taking up the name and reaching the level of Shuddha Bhakti, have completely given up material attachment and humbly worship Krishna's lotus feet and sing His name. One should seek out this type of person, take his association and serve him with the desire to give up material attachment. So we have to serve the Vaiṣṇavas with the desire to give up material attachment. Gradually one will become fixed in the name, and I and mine will go away as one transcends attachment to Maya. Giving up the false mentality, one will culture full surrender, which is the constitutional position of the jiva and the very nature of bhakti. By this one can get prema. So again, the antidote to that offense is association of devotees who are situated in proper Vaishnava behavior. And Vaishnava behavior means to all classes of living entities. Towards the Lord, Vaishnava behavior is not only towards other Vaishnavas and other people in general, but also towards the Lord. What is his behavior towards the Lord? And that can be seen, how he is chanting. And of course, we are not here to particularly observe how devotees are chanting. We have to focus on our chanting. But by nature, the devotees, the established devotees, they will chant carefully with full attention. How seriously we take Krishna, that is Vaishnava behavior. A Vaishnava takes Krishna seriously. So that is his behavior. He accepts Krishna as his only object of love. And love means he is fully in love with Krishna. And of course, there is a pure devotee. But anybody who is trying to get to that path is also considered, a good example. So, of course, here, that's why we seek that's why Guru is not simply some anybody and everybody, become Guru. Nowadays in ISKCON, they say, it is not necessary to become a pure devotee to become a guru. We should do it as a service to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked his name to be spread all over the world. So as a service to that, we have to accept the role of a guru, not out of pride that, I want worship as a guru and all that. Now, although that sounds humble and of humility, we will actually be doing a disservice to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by accepting the role of a Diksha Guru when we are not qualified. Instead of doing it in service, we will do it in disservice. Because we will give bad name and ill repute to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his movement by misbehaving. So, only person who can properly behave is a pure devotee. His behavior towards Krishna, his behavior towards other devotees, his behavior towards the innocent, his behavior towards the envious. This is all constitutes Vaiṣṇava behavior. And even among devotees, how one should treat the senior, equal and junior devotees. So much distinctions are there and so many fine details are there. And Vaiṣṇava who Ishvare Prema, Ishvare tad adhineshu balisheshu dvishatsu cha Prema maitra kripapeksha yakaroti samadhyamaha. So towards the Lord he likes to develop his Prema, love. And that means the name of the Lord he tries to chant with focus, and he is engrossed in the service of Krishna. So that is the symptom of an advanced devotee. The symptom of an advanced devotee is that he is absorbed in the service of Krishna. The more one is advanced and the more one is absorbed, the more he is devotee. The more he is worthy of the name Vaiṣṇava. And of course, real Vaiṣṇava means a pure devotee. Even a person who chants in Namabhas is considered semi-Vaiṣṇava, half Vaiṣṇava. Earlier in this book we have come across, if you remember, in the beginning of this book, when Namabhas is being explained in that chapter, before the offenses. So, so this is the nature of bhakti, constitutional nature of position of jiva. One who gives up the 10 offenses and performs devotional service correctly is the most fortunate in the 3 worlds, is full of all good qualities and is qualified for getting Krishna's mercy. A person can get Krishna's mercy if he avoids and all this and he performs devotional service correctly. While chanting the holy name, very soon by Krishna's mercy that person will come to the level of Bhāva and Prema. The Lord has stated himself that whoever takes the name without offenses will attain Prema, and whoever takes the name without giving up the offenses will never attain pure bhakti in spite of his practices. The practice of jnana gives liberation, and fruitive activities give material enjoyment, but pure Krishna bhakti and Prema are available only by correct execution of sadhana bhakti. As liberation and material enjoyment are both unsatisfying, and as bhakti is the only solution, the real form of liberation and the glory of the soul, the jiva must obtain bhakti. So ultimately, if we really want our own happiness, if we want our own satisfaction, only bhakti can give that, not karma or jnana. So, and the only way to get bhakti is to give up all the offenses. That's why it is said, to do sadhana carefully means to do it without the 10 offenses. So by carefully performing sadhana bhakti without any offenses, the creeper of bhakti will quickly yield the fruit of prema. So we have no other recourse now. This is the only way we can go. So we have to give up on the offenses. And be careful. That's why it is said to do sadhana carefully means to do it without the 10 offenses. Therefore, whoever is desirous of obtaining bhakti will take the name, being attentive to avoid each of the 10 offenses, and in his heart fervently begging at the feet of the holy name to give mercy to destroy offenses. One can never be released from offenses against the name by prayaschitta or pious activity, but only by taking shelter of the name continuously. So we know this verse that, what is that? नामापराध युक्तानां नामान्येव हरन्त्यघम् अविश्रान्ति प्रयुक्तानि Tanyevarthakarani cha, and Papakshayascha bhavati. What is that? Papakshayascha bhavati smaratam tam aharnisham. So these two verses, they are found in the purport of 6.3.24 of Srimad Bhagavatam. So the only way to come out of offenses is to repeatedly chant. And also hear, Shravan. Now why we are hearing about this Harināma Cintāmaṇi? So by hearing we will be even more attentive to the details of all these offenses. And then we will be able to notice it. Not enough just to know them, but if we can notice them on a practical level, then it will be easy for us to spot them. And we have to take the remedial action, which is also recommended in this book for each of these offenses. So in that way we can, weed out all these offenses. So it's a very, very practical guide, this Harināma Cintāmaṇi, how we can not only spot those offenses, but also remedy for the offenses and come to the point of introspection and constant introspection and proper chanting. One can never be released from offenses against the name by prayaschitta or pious activity, but only by again taking shelter of the name continuously. Chanting day and night, feeling repentant, the offenses will go and the fruit of the name will come. One will get Shuddhanam, then Bhavanam, then Premanam. This is something I am encountering new. Shuddhanam, Bhavanam, then Premanam. That means Shuddhanam is before Bhava, is it? But sometimes we say even Nama Bhas, one can go until Bhava, but not to Prema. So, the mechanics and the position of exactly. That's why it said here, one will get Shuddhanam, then Bhavanam, then Premanam. Anyway, let's not become too analytical about this because we are nowhere close anyway, first of all. Let us start at the Aparadhanam that we are doing, cleanse them. Then we will understand the higher aspects of this whole thing. Finally, to keep the offenses from entering the heart. Now, to give up the offenses is one thing, but to make sure that they don't enter again, so that there is no relapse of all this offensive mentality. Finally, to keep the offenses from entering the heart, pray for the mercy of Lord Caitanya, who is absorbed in the nectar of the name. Kathānchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet. What is that? Viparitam dhyan Sri Chaitanyam namamitam. Forgot the first line of the first word of the third line. The 14.1. Vismrite. Kathānchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismrite viparitam syan Sri Chaitanyam namamitam. Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu I offer my respectful obeisances. So here, to keep offences from entering the heart, pray for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya who is absorbed in the nectar of the name. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who has become the recipient of the Leelas of devotion by the grace of Haridas, sings eagerly the touchstone of the holy name. So these are the two offences. Now there are offences in serving the deity, Seva Parad. This is the Seva Parad. Of course, we will not be discussing that today. We will discuss on Saturday. But all the 32 Seva Paradas, and there are other offences are also there. They are also how many in number? 40 in number. And then Bhajan Pranali. Very interesting description in the Bhajan Pranali. Today only I was reading. We will go through all of that in the next sessions, coming up sessions. Okay, so we will stop it here. I hope that was helpful. Let's see if there are any questions. If you have any questions, please feel free asking. Let me see if there are any questions here. Prabhuji, actually we want a TV connection in the kitchen so that we Matajis do not miss live streams. I doubt, I don't know how much attention there will be. I mean, we can always put, but we have to cook, no? We cannot keep watching the TV. And also the TV will get all oil and oily, and because in the kitchen it's all like that, no? I mean, I don't know. I mean, everybody now has a phone, you see. We can, switch on the phone and at least put in a speaker, connect to a speaker, and maybe you can at least hear the audio. So that maybe can be done because everybody has a phone anyway nowadays. Himanshu is asking, Hare Krishna Prabhu, I want to ask, if we do something wrong among 4 principles, then what we can do to ensure that we do not repeat that mistake again? And if we carry on by chanting, then isn't that Nama Parad? Of course, something wrong, and if we can not repeat that mistake again. We just have to no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication. One just have to avoid these things. And if one at all breaks any principle, then usually two principles are broken easily. No meat eating and no illicit sex. No intoxication maybe. Illicit sex is a difficult one, especially for grahasthas. The answer is here. If at all anything happens, Namaparad, the only way is to keep on chanting, you see. जात श्रद्धो मत कथासु निर्विण्णः सर्वकर्मसु वेद दुःखात्मकान् कामान् परित्यागेऽप्यनीश्वरः ततो भजेत मां प्रीतः श्रद्धालुर्दृढनिश्चयः जुषमाणश्च तान् कामान् दुःखोदर्कांश्च गर्हयन्. Having awakened faith in the narrations of my glories, being disgusted with all material activities, knowing that all sense gratification leads to misery, but still being unable to renounce all sense enjoyment, my devotee should remain happy and worship me with great faith and conviction, even though he is sometimes engaged in sense enjoyment. My devotee knows that all sense gratification leads to a miserable result, and he sincerely repents such activities. So there has to be repentance. Repentance is a combination of understanding or having a disgust for the thing or for the sin, and noticing that I myself have committed that disgusting thing, and therefore actually condemning myself because of that. That is repentance. To notice first of all what a mistake is, and to notice next that I have committed that mistake, and I should know that I should not have committed and I should not do it in the future. And then I should condemn myself for having committed that mistake, and very seriously, that condemnation. That is repentance. Repentance has no meaning otherwise if we don't understand the extent to which it inhibits our spiritual life. If we don't understand that, then it does not do much. So repentance has to be serious. So this way, this is something else. This one, 11, 20, 25. Just now we read 11, 20, 27 and 28. 11th canto, 20th chapter, 27 and 28. Now it's 11, 20, 25. Yadi kuryat pramadena yogi karma vigarhitam Yogenaiva dahedam ho nanyat tatra kadachana. If because of momentary inattention a yogi accidentally commits an abominable activity, then by the very practice of yoga he should burn to ashes the sinful reaction without at any time employing any other procedure. So this is not nama parad. Nama parad is when we willingly commit the offense and think that by chanting I can neutralize whatever offense I have committed. That is offense. But if I repent in that offense, so namno balad yasya papa buddhi, that committing sin on the strength of the holy name, that means we have no repentance. Doing something wrong, okay, I'll just chant. What is there? All will be purified, because one name of Krishna can purify everything. So it's fine. I'll chant Krishna's name, and tomorrow again I'll commit the same thing. Again I'll chant Krishna's name. What is the Krishna will purify me? No. So that is there's zero repentance there. So repentance, when it is there, that is not an aparad, but that is a person trying to control or trying to advance himself. So then, of course, we have to pray. On our own strength, again, we cannot control. We have to pray to the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna. We should always understand that our whole progress in spiritual life is dependent on their mercy. Not on our expertise in conducting ourselves. No, we have to just be careful, but we always have to pray for their mercy to be able to advance. Next, Himanshu. So, Prabhu, many devotees will also leave the world, Prabhu, right at the time of explosion and after it, and how preaching will continue. Let's not worry about that. Krishna will take care. When paramparas broke, when sampradayas broke, Krishna came and revived it, right? Let Krishna do whatever. We are not again. Why do we consider that we are the doers? So how will preaching go on? Krishna will, give the intelligence at the time, however it can be done, and Krishna will have to give the protection. Not that I have to sit in I have to sit in this bomb shelter. It will not be bombed, and there is where I have to sit. I cannot decide. Whatever happens, it's all Krishna's will. You see, which bomb will take off where, and even if I am sitting in the bomb shelter, maybe some earthquake will come or tsunami. I don't know. Anything can happen. I can get a heart attack because of the anxiety of what is going on outside. Die of heart attack. Anything can happen. So let's not worry about how the preaching will continue. That is for Krishna to take care. But as long as we have means within, it is within our means to do something. Let us worry about that. What we can do now. Whenever it happens, what to do then, Krishna will decide. Krishna will give us the intelligence. Let's see. But now we can preach. Let's preach now. Let's learn and preach now with whatever we have. Tapasya. Prabhu, how we will understand which is Krishna's desire and reservation? Yeah, so that's why we have to understand it from Guru. Guru's order. If we follow that order 100%, then that is what Krishna actually wants, because it comes straight from the Guru. The reason why we do not know whether it is Krishna's desire or not, that very thing means we are doing something on our own, right? So, but if we follow Karishya Vachanam Tava, then there is no doubt Krishna wants this and I will do this. So Prabhupada gave us quite straightforward, unequivocal instructions, and we have to just engage ourselves in that. Then it is purely Krishna's desire and we are just trying to follow that. But many people can't come to that straight away, so they are encouraged to take up how much ever they can about, say, chanting, hearing, offering food to Krishna, reading and engaging in some sort of service, although they still have plans for material activity. And then slowly by the power of hearing Krishna Katha, their inclination towards materialistic life will slowly wane, and then they will come to the understanding where they will only follow Krishna's instructions or the spiritual master's instructions. Like for example, there is grey area. The grey area is when I mix the order of Krishna and my own desire. That's when I am not sure which is correct, which is wrong. So of course the devotees will instruct on how you can purify wherever you are at this point, but when we do exactly what the spiritual master asks us to do, we can rest assured that there is no mistake in that. There is no doubt that this is Krishna's desire. For example, if I apply for a job in the United States and I go there and I ask the devotees, is this the right thing I am doing? Well, depends. If you go there and preach, fine. But again, without the association of devotees, it will be tough. And if one is going on a preaching mission to the United States, that's totally different. Like Prabhupada, he went to America, not for a job application. He did not want to go there and find some green pass and sit down there and work. No, he went to employ the Americans in Krishna's service, not seek employment in America under some Shudra, Yavanam, Lecha or Chandala, but to employ the Chandalas in service of Krishna. He went as a HR of Krishna's department and recruited them without paying them a single cent. And in doing so, he fulfilled the order of his spiritual master. His spiritual master specifically said preach in the Western countries, and he went. There's zero doubt, zero ambiguity that this is whether it is Krishna's desire or whether it is not his desire. No, it is simply my order. My Guru's order is this, and I am doing that. That's it. But when I go to America out of my own this thing, what is right and what is wrong here? The wrong is that I have not first of all consulted what to do. So I have already had my plan. So now devotees will of course do damage control. When you ask them, Prabhu, is this the right thing to do? Then of course they will encourage you. They will say, okay, you go there, but you start preaching. You distribute books. You try to conduct some programs in the evening, in the weekends, something like that. So if the devotee does that, then there is some progress. So even if we are caught with a decision which we have made without any consultation, the devotees are merciful. They will make even that also, spiritual. They will help, spiritualize that. And then eventually, if we follow the instruction of the devotee, then we will eventually become more and more focused in Krishna consciousness, and then we will advance. Nevertheless, even though we may have already taken a decision, not consulting the devotees properly and all that, but if at that point, just like for example, Gajendra was in the heavenly planets. He did something, he got cursed, he became an elephant. He was a king actually, he was cursed, became an elephant, and he was with many she-elephants. And of course, this kind of life is not what Krishna wants, right? He doesn't want us to become an elephant in this material world. No, that's not what he wants. He wants us to be back in the spiritual world. He's already doing something there, But then he was caught in he went to the water, he went to the danger area. Crocodile came and attacking him. He was in distress. If he followed Krishna's instruction, he would have never left the material world. What to speak of becoming a king, what to speak of becoming cursed, what to speak of becoming elephant, what to speak of going with she-elephants, what to speak of going into the river, and what to speak of getting attacked by the crocodile. Right? But he has done all these things already. He is at the last point of his life now. All wrong things he has done until now. At that last point, Nārāyaṇa Akhila Guru Bhagavan Namaste, he said, holding a lotus flower in his trunk. After 1,000 years of fight, not even fight started, oh Nārāyaṇa. No. 1,000 years the fight was going on. Finally he remembered Nārāyaṇa, last life, whatever he has learned. Nārāyaṇa, he said. And then Nārāyaṇa came and saved him even from that. So however we have gone down, however downtrodden, are we saints? We have done mistake for millions and trillions of years. We have been living with that mistake, denying God, denying everything about Krishna, and still Krishna is sevam managapi kritam bahudabhyupaiti. Even little bit of seva we are doing, Krishna is taking it as if it's a great thing. But actually, what great it is? How many nonsense years I have spent in this material world against him, although he was with us. But still, if we are, taken to Krishna, even in danger, he will answer. So the devotees also, even if we do something bad, the remedial measure, even if we have taken a wrong decision, whatever we have done, we have to, seek the counsel of devotees. So, although it may not be an ideal situation that we have not taken direction up front, but still, even we are in the murky waters, the devotees will pick us up and give us the chance how to come out again, even from that situation. So, any situation. So, that is what is to be done. Then we know it is Krishna's desire. The more we become guided by the spiritual master, by the devotees who are following the spiritual master, and by the scriptures, of course, sadhu shastra guru, then we will be in a proper path of following Krishna. Then we will know this is Krishna's desire and this is not. That's it. It's clear. So like that. Question by Divya Mataji. Rishwani Mataji is asking, where is Divya Mataji, by the way? Oh, FB app is unavailable. Question by Divya Mataji. Accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Prabhupada. If you are attending Tattvavit Prabhuji class, could you please ask this doubt? My FB app is unavailable. You can ask on behalf of me if you have a problem. While repenting for our past sins, do we have to accept that in front of everyone? As all devotees' life is so open to the public and including their mistakes, so do we need to accept in front of everyone? You can do that if you want. The main thing is that will, if we do, in front of everyone, in front of the Vaishnavas, then we will control our mind. Okay, I have already told this. But the main thing in all of this is our sincerity. With what sincerity are we actually approaching this? So if I have committed a sin, I have to be repentant. If I say in front of everyone, Prabhu, I have committed this, I am so sorry. Then next time, I have again committed this, and my mind is, Hare, how many times? Am I really repenting, or I am just making a show of repentance? Like, there used to be one devotee who used to come here, from ISKCON actually. He used to come and have prasadam in our place before. So he used to come, and on Ekadashi, he will eat for Krishna we have to still provide grains, right? We have to still cook grains for Krishna in the temple. So, and that prasadam will be there, sometimes it will be given away to the cows or dogs, or sometimes some others, who are not devotees or something. But he will come and eat that. Some chapati, some rice is there. He will come and search for it and eat it. The full prasadam is there, Ekadashi prasadam, everything is there, but no, he will go and take that. And some devotee sees him, Prabhu, today Ekadashi. Oh, Ekadashi. Okay, tomorrow I will fast. Tomorrow where he will fast? Nothing will fast. Every Ekadashi same thing. Oh, today Ekadashi. Yeah. Another devotee, actually he himself, another devotee also, but he himself also sometimes used to say, actually this Ekadashi is all for Indians, those who are in India, that because Punya Bhumi, there they have to follow all this. Malaysia, Singapore and all this, it's not so strictly required. Chaturmasya, all this is for India, that's rainy season there in India, that's why. But here, we don't need to follow all this, Taking it lightly. Repenting, as if, Ekadashi, sorry. If it was genuine, if it was once, it's twice, every time. Publicly he is doing, in front of devotees, sorry. But, not sincere in this whole thing. So, whether public or private, the thing is, one has to be repentant. Of course, one should know, first of all, that the Lord is always the witness, whether we are even doing in private. The Lord is a witness. So we can never actually, there's no such thing as privacy. People who say that, privacy, there's no privacy. The Lord knows everything. So ultimately we have to realize that. So we have to be sincere and we have to be wanting our own advancement. So people like this who are, Ekadashi, he's not interested in his own progress. He just wants to be there and have some, relaxed life of Krishna consciousness, so-called, and having a materialistic lifestyle and everything. So that kind of thing won't work. The main thing is sincerity. That's the whole point. And everybody will do so many things, so many mistakes here and there. Confess means also seek guidance on how not to do it again. And after some time you will understand how not to do it again. It's just that you have to do it. You have to follow that instruction. That's all. So we are reading, like just now Himanshu Prabhu also asked what to do if one commits a sin, and then what to do. Should he still continue devotional service? Is that not an aparadha and all that? So we have to repent. We have to I've explained at length. So we have to just follow. After some time there is nothing more to be learned. It's just that I have to put it in practice, whatever I have learned. So I have to just work on myself. Everything need not be told everywhere, to everyone. But I should myself work on it. I should be a constant work in progress. So that's what we should do. Himanshu is asking again. Prabhu, why Krishna made us to forget about previous lives? If we remember, then we can take devotional service, right, Prabhu? We think so. We think so now. But honestly, what will happen? I'll give you a scenario. Suppose I had some quote-unquote love story with some girl in my previous life. Lust story. And I died somewhere and then took birth again. And if I remember that, I will go and find that girl. I'm not going to find Krishna. And the anxieties of this life are more than enough. Why adding more anxieties of previous life and previous life before that and previous life? What will we get? So we think we will have intelligence if I remember. But honestly, we won't. This is not based on just what we did on our previous life and then, Himanshu is saying, true Prabhu, Krishna is very intelligent. Yeah, he knows what is best for us, and if it was so simple, he would have done that. But it's not so simple. We have millions of lives, and if we just remember all of them, we will be depressed. People are in depression because of just this life's problems. If they remember that they were blown up in a bomb blast in the previous life, or if they were in so-called love story in the previous life, or if their mother is still there, suffering, and then they died. Mother is old and she is poor. He will run there, and then the mother will not recognize him. Who is this? Telling what to me and all this. She will be freaking out. It's a chaos. And another thing is that, see, we came here to enjoy, and He will give us the facility to enjoy according to our desires, according to what we deserve. So, by forgetting our previous thing, then we can get attached to our present life. Otherwise, we will not be attached here. We will be attached somewhere else in the search for something else, and then we will lose everything. Not in this life. Are we living in this life or a previous life, or we miss out on both? Maybe they also died. They also something passed on. And then they going in their next life, they will remember their previous life and they try to come together with this guy. What are we doing? The whole purpose of material life is gone. Better you forget whatever you have done. Okay, you are attached now. Come out of this now. And it goes on like that. We can't handle too much baggage. Krishna remembers everything we have done, everything everybody has done, everything He has done. We are not able to handle that kind of memory. We can't handle it. So He gives us what we can handle. So with whatever He has given us, it is sufficient for us to surrender to Him. It is just that we have to surrender to Him. So if we can understand that, that is enough. No need of previous life, last life and everything. No need. There are so many people trying to have some previous life regression, some meditation techniques. They're trying to find out who were they in their previous life. What they will get? Okay, they have found out, for example. Okay, even if that method worked and they found out that they were so and so, what are they going to do about it? What are they going to do about it? Are they going to understand that, yeah, actually, this is all waste of time, we should surrender to Krishna? They're not going to come to that conclusion. We can only come to the conclusion when we come to the point of listening from a pure devotee, when we have the mercy of a pure devotee. And that is what is really needed. So, for the material baggage, keep it to the minimum, and Krishna keeps it to the minimum, this life alone. And then give us the opportunity. He gives us the opportunity of connecting with devotees, if we are fortunate enough. And then we will make progress. Himanshu is saying, thanks Prabhu for answering my stupid questions. Hare Krishna, always Prabhupada. Well, any question is not stupid. It's just that you understand. Alright, so thank you very much. We will continue again on Saturday with the next chapter of this book. Thank you again. Haridas Thakur ki jai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai, Nitāya Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.